Thursday, March 8th, 2018, 6:03 p.m. Look how the bitch turning up to a 5.0 while I was laying here taking a nap. And this is right at the headboard, see? See how them terrorist bitches jacked it up right with my head laying there? See them terrorist bitches do that shit every day. And at the foot of the bed, look at this. Terrorist bitch sitting right there on the other side of that wall. And you know that's that bitch in that white here. And I know my neighbors are feeling over here. Them terrorist bitches are over there on this side of the wall. I know my neighbors are being inundated with it. Look at this. Yeah, I know my neighbors are being inundated with it. See how that terrorist bitch signed up to a 6.0? You can't hear it, but I had the bitch moving right there along that wall. That's why that pathetic bitch don't have no fucking life. That's why the pathetic bitch sitting right there doing what the fuck she doing. Cause the pathetic bitch. And look at, I'm in the middle room now. Look at this. Additionally, the superintendent writes that any student leaves the building, they could face disciplinary action. Baltimore's Metro shut down subway for nearly a month for track repairs, and that left many dispatchers feeling very distressed. Right. Yeah. But the MTA announced trains will be back up and running starting at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. They will indeed. It's been a very difficult month for the customers, but MTA has a thank you of sorts for them this weekend. Global News reporter Kim Dacey joins us live at the Metro stop in Owens Mills, and she also has an update on the work that the crews did. Kim. Well, Donna, here at the Owens Mills Metro and any metro station around the area for the last month or so, riders have encountered these gates and a sign that says the station is temporarily closed, and they've had to aboard one of these charter buses provided with money by the state to get where they need to go. Now, the Metro was not projected to open again until March 11th, but they're ready a few days ahead of schedule. How long are we going to look early? Baltimore Metro riders say it's been a long month with longer rides on shuttle buses instead of metro trains.
It made the commute really long. We had to wait for the bus for some time. Usually metro is only for 15 minutes.
And I just looked outside. Yeah, it's that cow bitch Veronica Devon, that Greyhound Accord. And probably one that black bitch driving that Kia Soul parked around the corner. But who cares? You see the levels, don't you?
Shuttles, they stop at every metro station.
Now the MTA says the system will reopen ahead of schedule at 5 tomorrow morning. First thing I want to do is absolutely thank riders for their patience during this time. So we replaced rail on 14 curves throughout the system. And that's, rail that was worn down, specifically on the curves in the elevated section as well as the tunnel sections of the metro. And so we went out, took out the old rail, put in brand new rail. Some riders we spoke to wondered how long they were riding on unsafe. It's truly safe to ride now. I hope so.
You see how them terrorist bitches, they jack the levels up every fucking day. Every day. All under orders of that terrorist bald head faggot ass nigga Gordon Johnson. As you see.
But we've done a very thorough safety inspection. So we've done walkthroughs with The Federal Transit Administration, just a couple days ago, we've done a variety of safety tests. We've gone through our safety certification process. And so this system is absolutely safe for our riders to use and to trust and really have faith in.
The MTA says it needs to do more maintenance in August, but nothing close to a full shutdown.
I think I'll get a car before then.
Metro says the MTA says the Metro will be free for all riders throughout the weekend as a thank you for the inconvenience. Reporting live at Owings Mills, Kim Dacey, WBAL TV 11 News.
All right, Kim, thank you. Well, still to come on 11 News at 6, there's a wind turbine development project in the works that promises to bring thousands of jobs to Ocean City and Baltimore County.
Well, in our Session 2018 report, the new legislation gaining support that could delay that project by several years.
Well, the area high school basketball team gets championship weekend off to a great start in College Park. We'll share that with you later in sports.
Storm is all the way up off the coast of Maine, but we're still feeling the effects of it. It's a chilly, wintry 7-day forecast coming up.
This portion of 11 News is brought to you by the cancer doctors at Mercy, nationally recognized cancer experts treating complex cancers. Call 800-MD-MERCY.
New TV, new speakers, Netflix. This is going to be the place for binge watching, ladies.
Is it, ladies?
Don't get me wrong. You have killer tech, Mrs. V, but you still don't have Fios. Okay. Fios is a 100% fiber optic network, literally engineered for streaming. Pretty nice. I've also got some ideas on a better cereal selection, which I will keep to myself.
Experience Netflix on the 100% fiber optic network made for streaming. Switch to Fios and get a year of Netflix on us with a 2-year agreement.
There's a place where the Bible's most powerful stories come to life. This year, Sight and Sound Theaters brings the greatest rescue story of all time to the stage.
It's Ram Truck Month. It's a long rig to trucks with best-in-class 30,000 pounds of fifth wheel towing and class exclusive features like coil-link suspension for a smooth ride and Ram box storage. They don't just inspire passion, they help it grow stronger. Hurry in for a great deal during Ram Truck Month.
Financing at an average $12,473 in total values on the 2018 Ram 1500. Or less these are competitive vehicles. Get a low average lease on the 2018 Ram 1500 for $169 a month.
The moment you walk into a furniture store, you can tell if it's your kind of store. And the moment you walk into the sofa store, you know it's different from all the others. What makes it different? Well, it's the incredible selection of styles, fabrics, and leathers. It's a different level of taste, and it's a different level of quality. These differences separate the sofa store from all the others. The sofa store really is different by design.
You know what the other guy's idea of seafood is?
A squished fish patty on a bun.
My idea of seafood is Popeye's Butterfly Shrimp Tackle Box. 8 shrimp and all fish for $5. Stick it with chicken, go for my $20 meal deal.
In Session 2018, legislation pushing wind farms at least 26 miles off the coast of Ocean City drew a standing room crowd only today at the House hearing.
U.S. Wind, which is the larger of 2 companies given permission to build farms, has modified its plans. It's now offering to build 32 turbines 17 miles off the shore. But as the I-Team's David Collins tells us, some Ocean City officials say that's not far enough.
The controversy over wind turbines off the coast of Ocean City boils down to the view. Everyone supports the renewable energy source, but they just don't want to see it. This is what wind turbines off the coast of Ocean City will look like if built 17 miles offshore. The rendition comes from U.S. Wind, the company that wants to build 32 of them. The Maryland Public Service Commission gave them the green light to do it.
The project continues on its development timeline. We still expect to be in service by 2021. And that means we're submitting our construction permits this year.
In Ocean City, the beach matters. Its 10 miles of coastline is the #1 asset for Maryland's vacation capital, generating $150 million in tax revenues for the state. The mayor, some council members, and business owners support legislation requiring wind turbines to be at least 26 to 30 miles offshore.
We want offshore wind. We just don't want to see it.
26 miles is the distance where the turbines definitely can't be seen. But in this rendition, company officials argue you'd be hard-pressed to notice the 370-foot turbine 17 miles offshore, also citing a number of reasons why they can't go out further.
The Department of Defense had issues with it going out to 30 miles. The Coast Guard had issues with it going out to 30 miles. And Maritime Commerce had an issue with it going out to 30 miles.
A Sage Policy Group study commissioned by U.S. Wind finds that turbines, if seen offshore, will not have a negative impact on property values or tourism. A Goucher poll also finds public support for the projects.
If the legislature doesn't respond, I believe Ocean City will, and they'll do it in a legal way. So this is the polite way to resolve this issue.
U.S. Wind says they don't have the leasing rights to that area, and if they had to start over, the process will take another 5 years. They warned the $1.6 billion project that will bring jobs to Ocean City and thousands of turbine manufacturing jobs to Baltimore County would be lost. In Annapolis, David Collins, WBAL TV 11 News.
Meanwhile, the Maryland House of Delegates today took an historic vote that dramatically changes the state's medical marijuana licensing process. Delegates voted in favor of a measure expanding the number of growing licenses and require minority business ownership. The number of growers would increase from 15 to 20. It also caps the number of marijuana processors at 25. Now, none of the companies licensed so far has an African-American owner. The bill now heads to the state Senate.
State lawmakers, unions, and some of the business community marked this International Women's Day with a rally in support of legislation raising the state minimum wage to $15 an hour. Dozens of supporters rallied in Lawyers Mall at the State House in favor of that bill. The Maryland Center for Economics and Policy finds that 55% of all lower wage earners are women. The bill phases in raising the rate by $1 a year starting in 2019 until it reaches $15 an hour in 2023. The Senate committee heard 2 bills related to the state's minimum wage.
Now, your WBAL TV 11 weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Tom Tasselmeyer.
43 degrees today down at PWI Marshall Airport. That's 8 degrees colder than average for this time of year. Now, the morning low at 31 was pretty much on target, but it's been a kind of a breezy, chilly afternoon, especially in contrast to the record high of 83 summer-like degrees on this day in 2000. Bitter cold Arctic outbreak in 1960 dropped the temperature to a record low of 10. Chilly stuff out there tonight. We're dropping into the 30s now. Frederick, Gaithersburg, Westminster, Parkton, Edgewood. Look at these 30s all the way down to Cambridge and Salisbury on the shore. And teens. It's the temperature right now in western Maryland. Very cold with the wind gusting to 20 miles an hour. A gust to 32 at Dulles right now. So the wind chill in Garrett County is in the single digits, and the snow is falling out there. Temperatures are in the feels like it's in the 20s in our northern suburbs right now. And there have been some scattered flurries trying to move through on radar. A lot of this probably drying up before it can hit the ground, but don't be surprised if a little sprinkle or even a flurry, brief shower of snow moves through early this evening. It's all coming in on west to northwesterly breezes because we're still being impacted by the big, powerful nor'easter. That's now sitting up off the coast of Maine, but the circulation around it is huge, and so we're getting that west to northwesterly flow. Very heavy snow inland. Not that bad right in the major cities along the coast, but the snowfall totals are pretty impressive as you move inland, where it stayed all snow. 3 feet, 36 inches from this storm in Woodford, Vermont, down in southern Vermont. 26 inches in Monroe, New York. 19 inches and still snowing pretty good up at Sanford, Maine. High pressure to the west, big storm over the northeast. That's going to funnel that cold, unseasonably cold air into the mid-Atlantic and deep into the southeast for the next few days. Got frost and freeze warnings and watches out down here in the southeast, all the way down toward the Florida-Georgia border. So it's cold all across the eastern United States. You can see these temperatures are going to be chilly going into tomorrow morning. The snow continues to fall out in western Maryland, where another 1 to 3 and isolated 5 and 6 inch amounts are possible. So the higher mountains in Garrett County down into West Virginia. Snow season continues out in the far west. Here in Baltimore tomorrow, I think it'll be breezy and chilly, but less cloud cover, less snow shower activity, and lots of sunshine on Futurecast for Saturday afternoon. Sunday into Monday, we'll be keeping a very close eye on what's happening to our south. See the storm developing down here? If it inches a little farther north, Sunday night, Monday morning could feature more wintry weather. Right now, the favored track is south of us, but it's too close to call right now. Got to be very careful for that Sunday night, Monday morning forecast. Tonight, breezy and cold. Tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds and high temperatures of 44 to 49 degrees with brisk west winds. This is the weekend we go back to daylight saving time, so 2 a.m. Sunday morning, clocks go forward 1 hour.
Now, 11 Sports with Jerry Sandusky.
Coach O didn't make a big splash with pitchers in the free agent market. They took a few longer shot reaches, but hopes of a big payoff from Rule 5 pickup Nestor Cortez Jr. not panning out so far in spring training. Cortez with a start today against the Jays at Smith Stadium. Trouble early. First inning, Cortez gives up an RBI single to Jays Jason Levavigian. Cortez gave up 6 hits, 3 runs, and 3 innings of work. Third inning, O's prospect Anthony Santander in left field lay it out to take away a hit from Mike Pentecost. The Jays, however, take the day, beating the O's 9-3. Championship weekend in College Park for the top boys high school teams in the state. Xfinity Center is the site of the 3A semifinal. Milford Mill in the home white uniforms against Thomas Johnson from Frederick. First quarter, that's Milford Mill's Darius Woods going deep with the slam. The Millers up 4. It's a big presence in the paint. Second quarter, TJ's Braxton Foreman. Nice ball skills. Post up, drains the 3. Thomas Johnson up 1. But in the second half, the Millers take it over. Ahmed Milton with a floater in the lane. Milford Mill up with a 9-point lead. And then late in the fourth quarter, Milford Mill put away time. Jordan Goodwin sees an alley, takes it. Great body control, gets the basket off the glass and 1. Milford Mill advances to Saturday's state championship game with a 68-59 win over Thomas Johnson. Sometimes in negotiations, big threats have nothing but bluster backing them up. The Pittsburgh Steelers obviously recognized that with running back Le'Veon Bell. The Pro Bowl running back threatened to sit out 2018 or even retire if the Steelers placed the franchise tag on him for a second year in a row. Well, the Steelers tagged him last week. And on social media last night, Bell said, yeah, okay, he would play this season. After all, under the tag, he'll make more than $14 million this coming season. The reason players don't like the tag in the NFL is it gives them no long-term security or upfront signing bonus. And how do you get by on $14 million these days, right? Some people overpay for a haircut, but not Tom Brady. The Patriots quarterback makes money getting a haircut, but at least he makes it for charity. Patriots on their website proclaimed that Brady got his hair shaved for a fundraiser for the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Boston. Well, the actual cut looks a whole lot more like a buzz cut than a head shave. How so very unlike the Patriots have a different take on reality than the rest of the world. The saving by shaving event, however, that Tom Brady took part in, a great event, great cause, and a great outcome. It raised more than $7 million. You stick around. Tom will not shave his head, but he'll shave the 7-day forecast down to some sunshine for you when we come back.
Right now at Value City Furniture, the more you buy, the more you save. Shop today for huge savings store-wide with up to $1,500 off qualifying purchases. Or enjoy 48-month special financing when you spend $19.99 or more. Only at Value City Furniture.
Sometimes it takes only one person to inspire the entire country.
How many of the people here are volunteers? All of them.
Join us for the stories of everyday heroes who are inspiring America.
On NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
More and more people are finding themselves in a Chevrolet for the first time. Trying something new can be exciting, empowering, downright exhilarating. See for yourself why Chevrolet is the most awarded and fastest growing brand the last 4 years overall. Switch into a new Chevy now at 20% below MSRP on these select 2018 models or 0% financing for 72 months on 2018 Tahoe and Suburban models. Chevrolet, find new roads.
There's a little folder next to you. Take a look at it.
Okay. Wow.
What would you say to that person?
I'd look them straight in the eye and say, this would be the best decision you've ever made.
You will feel free.
You will be around to see your daughter grow up.
We've been given a gift, and now it's time to live it.
Off season. Darn right it's your off season. You're on a Virginia Beach adventure. Right after brunch. Okay, now this is a great place to start. Here in Virginia Beach, we know how much you deserve an off season. So we're giving you all the off season you can handle. Get your off season on at visitvirginiabeach.com. Uproar over the deaths of 2 kids run over by a driver who reportedly had a seizure. Next in edition. Tonight at 7 on TV 11.
Wake up refreshed on a new mattress from Value City Furniture. Now the more you buy, the more you save. Get this Beauty Rest Plush Pillow Top Queen mattress now just $7.19. Or spend $19.99 or more and get 48-month special financing. Only at Value City Furniture.
Here's a look at what we're working on for 11 News tonight. Former Baltimore County School Superintendent Dr. Dallas Vance pleaded guilty to perjury today over payments he received for consulting work. Reaction to that decision as he faces the possibility of more than a year in jail. And later, Harford County Schools putting his foot down on student protest planned for next week. Why students could face disciplinary action if they walk out. These stories and more tonight on 11 News after Chicago Fire.
Forget everything you think you know about that night.
OJ's lost confession.
Next, Access. Tonight at 7:30 on TV 11.
Create your perfect space with patio enclosures. Right now, receive up to $5,600 off sunrooms. Plus, enjoy no interest for 2 years. This offer won't last long. Call today. Patio enclosures.
You know, these days, there's a lot of information out there being cold news.
And a lot of talk about who you should believe, whether on social media or the cable networks.
The truth isn't always clear.
11 News is different. For decades, we've been the trusted source of information in Maryland.
A team of journalists committed to accurate reporting.
There's no spin,
No agenda, just the truth.
Mornings, evenings, and late night. See the difference from the team you can trust. 11 News. Live, local, late breaking.
Baltimore and Bel Air, join the madness at Bob Bell Chevy. Score up to $12,000 off the 2018 Chevy Silverado during our March Mania sale. The time is running out, so sprint in before the clock stops. Come see us today or visit BobBellChevy.com.
If you had told me 3 years ago that we'd be downloading in seconds what used to take minutes, that guests would compliment our Wi-Fi
That we could video conference?
and do it like that. If you'd have told me that I could afford a gig speed, it's like 20 times faster than what most people have.
I'd have said,
you're dreaming.
Dreaming, definitely dreaming. And again, dreaming is how I got this far.
Now more businesses in more places can afford to dream big. Comcast, building America's largest gig-speed network. Here's to the nationally recognized Center for Women's Health and Medicine at Mercy. Mercy provides GYN cancer services throughout the state. Our breast cancer team was first in Maryland to offer interoperative radiation therapy. Mercy is home to the National Institute of Robotic Surgery. We also feature 3D mammography, the Ovarian Cancer Institute, a dedicated endometriosis center, breast reconstruction, plastic and cosmetic surgery, and comprehensive GYN care. 1-800-MD-MERCY or MDMercy.com.
Create your perfect space with patio enclosures. Right now, receive up to $5,600 off sunrooms. Plus, enjoy no interest for 2 years. This offer won't last long. Call today. Patio enclosures.
All right, final check. Not bad today.
All right, not bad. A couple of sprinkles and flurries out there. Breezy, chilly weather. The normal is about 51,
Did you coin
52.
those sprinkles?
Sprinkles and flurries.
We have a new word. We have a new weather word. Sprinkles.
One of the 800 new that was added to the dictionary.
And you put it there.
46 degrees tomorrow, 15. Clocks go forward 1 hour Sunday morning.
All right, that's it for 11 News at 6. Thanks for joining us.
ABC Nightly News is next. Hope to see you back here at 11.
The March Mania sales event is back at JBA Chevrolet. Arrive courtside in a new Chevy Equinox for just $159 a month. Or take up to $12,000 off Silverado. With prices and payments clearly marked and financing for everyone, you can't lose. And remember, your trade is always worth more at JBA. New Chevys as low as $117 a month. JBA Chevrolet, Ritchie Highway, Glenburg. Online at JBAChevrolet.com.
Friday, from inside Russia,
Cyber warfare.
Megan Kelly confronts Vladimir Putin.
Why would you allow an attack like this on the United States?
An NBC News exclusive. Friday at 10, 9 Central.
This is Andrew Lloyd Webber's School of Rock, the award-winning new musical based on the hit comedy movie.
At the Hippodrome this March. Tickets at BaltimoreHippodrome.com.
Thousands of children and adolescents visit Mount Washington Pediatric Hospital every year. We provide a wide range of outpatient services, including psychology, rehabilitation, sleep Uniquely affiliated with both University of Maryland Medical System and Johns Hopkins Medicine, Mount Washington Pediatric Hospital is where children go to heal and grow.
Right now, Comcast Business is doubling your internet speed so you can download large files faster, empower more employees on more devices, all for a new low price. What does that equal? Our best internet offer ever. You do the math. Because for a limited time, you'll pay the 75 megabit price and get 150 megabit internet. So double your speed and save today. That's speed on sale up to 1 gig. Act now to get on America's largest gig speed network. Call today.
Bigger doesn't mean stronger. Don't be defined by a weight class. Introducing the all-new Terrain, the compact SUV from GMC. Mighty like a pro. The all-new Terrain. Current non-GM owners get this low-mileage lease on this 2018 Terrain SLE for around $247 per month, or get $5,500 purchase allowance. Controversy over the Best Picture winner. Next in Edition.
Tonight, breaking news on North Korea. Late word from President Trump of a major announcement tonight at the White House on the heels of him signing sweeping new tariffs on aluminum and steel, setting off a potential trade war in spite of fierce opposition inside his White House and his own party. Outrage over a police beating caught on body cam. A man punched and tasered by an officer. His alleged crime, jaywalking. Tough news for hundreds of couples. How a malfunction at a major hospital delivered a blow to their hopes of having children. Travel warning for a popular spring break destination. The new security threat alert after an explosion that left American tourists among dozens injured. And heart to heart, they both got a second chance at life and found love in the most unlikely place.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening, everyone. We're following fast-moving developments in Washington right now, where President Trump put pen to paper this afternoon, moving forward on his plan to tax foreign imports of steel and aluminum. That was our top story until just a short time ago, when the president briefly emerged in the White House press room to tell reporters there will be a major announcement about North Korea coming just under a half hour from now. We want to go right to the White House now, and Kristen Welker, who has late information. Kristen, what's this all about?
Lester, good evening. It was the first public appearance for the president in the briefing room, and senior officials say the announcement will come from the South Korean National Security Advisor, who just met with Kim Jong-un and who delivered a letter to President Trump from the North Korean dictator. All of this happening on the same day. The president also made a major announcement on trade. After days of confusion, today, President Trump made his new tariff plan official, flanked by steel and aluminum workers. He says the plan will help.
The strong steel and aluminum industry are vital to our national security, absolutely vital. Steel is steel. You don't have steel, you don't have a country.
The president says tariffs, which are taxes on imports, are necessary to counter cheap goods from countries like China. The plan will impose 25% tariffs on steel and 10% on aluminum. Canada, the biggest supplier of steel and aluminum to the U.S., and Mexico will be exempt as those countries renegotiate NAFTA with the United States. Mr. Trump indicating other countries could also be spared, but stressing American workers come first.
The workers who poured their souls into building this great nation were betrayed. But that betrayal is now over. I'm delivering on a promise I made during the campaign, and I've been making it for a good part of my life.
But tonight, opposition from many top Republicans who warn it could spark a trade war.
I'm just not a fan of broad-based across-the-board tariffs. You'll have a lot of collateral damage, not just consumers, but businesses.
And the tariff plan has also split the White House. While proponents celebrated today, top economic advisor Gary Cohn resigned over the issue. Today, the president singling him out during his final cabinet meeting.
He's going to go out and make another couple of $100 million, and then he's going to maybe come back. He might come back, right? We'll be here. Absolutely.
The plan set to take effect in 15 days. Kristen Welker, NBC News, the White House.
I'm Miguel Almaguer. Tonight, a tariff on aluminum is the talk at Oscar Blues Brewery in Longmont, Colorado. The beer they package is canned. Now concerns this small company's costs could be big and ultimately pour down to consumers.
Increasing those costs obviously makes it difficult for us to invest in growth. In the end, could be seen as an increase to the craft beer drinker.
Big businesses like Miller Coors are also worried. In a statement saying American workers and American consumers will suffer as a result of this misguided tariff. Last year, the U.S. imported $48 billion of steel and aluminum goods. At California Steel Industries, the largest steel mill in the western United States, they depend on imported steel from Mexico, Brazil, and Japan to make sheet metal for everything from buildings to bridges. The cost of doing business would stifle business. At Foes Racing, they make aluminum mountain bikes.
We're going to see the material costs go up, and then naturally you'll see the consumer turning away.
Prices expected to rise for products like soda cans, electronics, even cars. Tonight, the European Union is threatening a retaliation tax on American-made products like bourbon, orange juice, even peanut butter. California farmer Stuart Wolf sends 2/3 of his almond crop overseas.
We are in the business of managing uncertainty and managing risk. This is a risk that we really can't manage.
At steel plants like this one, where they're processing steel today, the impact of new tariffs is unclear, but the uncertainty could lead to downsizing, even layoffs in the near future. Lester?
All right, Miguel Almaguer, thanks. And now to the growing outrage over a police beating in North Carolina. We've seen several incidents of alleged excessive force caught on camera, though rarely do we see the moments before them, the moments leading up to the act. But tonight, we're getting a look at body cam video showing exactly what led to the beating of a man accused of jaywalking. It happened during the summer. The tape, however, only now surfacing. NBC's Gabe Gutierrez has the story, and we warn you the video is disturbing.
This is the excruciating end of Johnny Rush's walk home from work last August in Asheville, North Carolina.
And again, he's not learning.
Just minutes earlier, 2 officers had their eyes on Rush after they said he'd been jaywalking several times.
It's going to be so annoying with you.
He just left a 13-hour shift at a Cracker Barrel restaurant. In the video obtained by the Asheville Citizen Times, an officer in training tells Rush he could either get a ticket or be arrested.
It doesn't matter, man. Do what you got to do besides keep harassing me.
The encounter escalates quickly.
Put your hands on your back. Don't.
Officer Chris Hickman, who's wearing a body camera, steps in, but Rush starts to run.
You know what's funny? People get hardcore.
Once he's tackled, Hickman punches Rush in the head, then tasers him.
You ain't had to punch me in my face for no reason. You didn't have to make me.
Rush was charged with impeding traffic and resisting an officer, but the charges were later dropped. The chief decided to fire Officer Hickman in January, but Hickman resigned first. ABC News could not reach for comment.
This video is disturbing to me in a way that turns my stomach. It's sickening. It's distasteful. It brings a lot of raw emotion and feeling to one to see this and understand that, no, this shouldn't be happening in my community.
The mayor has apologized to Johnny Rush, and a federal investigation is now underway. Gabe Gutierrez, NBC News.
Police body cam bearing witness. Tough to watch. After the second big storm in less than a week, people in the Northeast are digging out from as much as 2 feet of snow. The snow was wet, it was heavy in many areas, and that caused countless trees and branches to come crashing down on power lines. A woman in New Jersey was killed when she drove across one of those lines. Hundreds of thousands are without power, including some who haven't had electricity since last Friday's destructive nor'easter, especially just north of New York City. That has led to growing outrage and calls for resignations of utility company executives. There is a heartbreaking situation unfolding tonight in Cleveland. Hundreds of families learning that their eggs or frozen embryos stored at a fertility clinic may have been damaged. Something happened that caused more than 2,000 frozen eggs and embryos to begin to thaw. Our affiliate WKYC broke the story, and senior national correspondent Kate Snow has more for us tonight.
For more than 500 families who were treated at Cleveland's University Hospital Fertility Clinic, incredibly difficult news.
Obviously, this is a devastating event for families that have gone through this infertility journey.
A long-term storage tank containing liquid nitrogen malfunctioned last weekend. 2,100 frozen eggs and embryos may no longer be viable.
We don't know the reasons why yet, but we do know that the temperature that was measured at a portion of the tank was higher than our acceptable limits.
University Hospital is looking into whether there was mechanical or human error. The clinic says it will not destroy any eggs or embryos and has moved them to a working tank with the correct temperature. The hospital has been reaching out to patients who can decide how to proceed.
We want to do all that we can to support them, and we will stand by to answer questions and address them, understanding that we may not have all of those answers right now.
The American Society for Reproductive Medicine says a disaster of this scale is incredibly rare. Fertility clinics are increasingly used by women who want to freeze their eggs to preserve their options, and couples who can't have biological children but want a family. The only way for patients at that Cleveland clinic to know if their egg or embryo is still viable is to use them to try to get pregnant. The clinic says it will pay for their costs. Emotional and stressful days ahead. Kate Snow, NBC News, New York.
Tonight, we are getting a much fuller understanding of how those moments of terror unfolded during the Parkland school shooting. For the first time, we're hearing the frantic 911 calls that were made, along with police communications, as a gunman killed 17 people on that campus. NBC's Kerry Sanders has the story.
It is a desperate call for help during a massacre.
911, what is your emergency?
The voice on the other end begins to whisper, so he won't be discovered by the gunman.
It's being shot up. Are you at the school? I can't hear you. Are you at the school?
In all, there are 157 emergency calls, many made by parents getting texts from their kids.
There were 3 shots in your room. There were 3 shots in her room. Okay. Oh my God.
You can hear the emotional plea of one mother talking to her child on the other line. Tonight, the Broward Sheriff's Office also releasing its own radio transmissions showing a timeline of terror.
I have the gunshot victim. I have the gunshot victim.
Campus security video showing confessed gunman Nicholas Cruz opened fire just 15 seconds after he walked into the freshman building. 15-year-old Kyle Lamont, shot in the ankle, gave the first best description of the gunman.
All units be advised of male in a hoodie, possible AR-15 or AK-47.
The transmissions and videos show the shooting rampage lasted between 5 and 6 minutes. Kerry Sanders, NBC News, Parkland, Florida.
We turn now to this International Women's Day, and we take a look tonight at a surge in the number of women running for office in this country, specifically women running for Congress. More than 400 are running or say they're likely to run. The presidency of Donald Trump and the Me Too movement are among the factors driving many of these women. Tonight, NBC's Katie Beck takes a look at 2 candidates.
In Michigan, even a frigid winter can't ice out a campaign.
We're having quite a winter. Yeah.
But election season is heating up. Over a warm cup of coffee, political talk is working.
I'm running, but I'm standing on the shoulders of a lot of people.
First-time female candidates, like Democrat Alyssa Slotkin, running for Congress in the rural 8th District.
How much did Trump's victory play a part in your decision? You know, I think it was part of it, but it was the overall tenor and tone. Just women feeling like, if not me, then who? And if not now, when?
Slotkin, a former Pentagon official with 3 tours in Iraq, is one of a record number of women running in the midterm. The spike follows the powerful Me Too movement. In 2018, 420 women in 47 states are planning to run for the House. Now, only 84 women serve.
It's up to us to do it.
While Democrats make up the majority of the new women candidates, Republican women are seeing an increase too.
I'm a candidate for Congress.
Right next door to Slotkin's district, Republican Lena Epstein is running for Congress.
Opportunities for Americans are better and broader now.
We need competition.
Epstein, who runs a family oil business, also a first-time candidate, fighting for an open seat after working as co-chair of Donald Trump's winning Michigan campaign.
I was inspired by Donald J. Trump as a job creator. I think it's great that more women are getting involved.
A new flood of women seeking the same thing, a chance to make a difference. Katie Beck, NBC News, Detroit.
Some potentially good news tonight in the wake of that massive Equifax data breach. Soon you could be able to freeze your credit report for free, no extra cost, under a measure the Senate is expected to pass in the coming days. Freezing your credit can prevent criminals from taking out loans or new lines of credit in your name. As many as 148 million people were impacted by the cyber attack on Equifax last year. Still ahead tonight, as spring break approaches, the urgent new travel warning about popular resort destination. Also, a remarkable love story, how they came together after escaping death. You'll understand why we're calling this one Heart to Heart.
Patrick woke up with a sore back, but he's got work to do. So he took a leave this morning. If he'd taken Tylenol, he'd be stopping for more pills right now. Only Aleve has the strength to stop tough pain for up to 12 hours with just one pill. Tylenol can't do that. Aleve, all day strong, all day long. And for pain relief and a good night's rest, try Aleve PM for a better aim.
No matter how the markets change, at T. Rowe Price, our disciplined approach remains. Global markets may be uncertain, but you can feel confident in our investment experience around the world. Call us or your advisor. T. Rowe Price. Invest with confidence.
Your heart doesn't only belong to you. And if you have heart failure, entrusting your heart to Entresto may help. Entresto is a heart failure medicine that helps improve your heart's ability to pump blood to the body. In the largest heart failure study ever, Entresto was proven superior at helping people stay alive and out of the hospital compared to a leading heart failure medicine. Don't take Entresto if pregnant. It can cause harm or death to an unborn baby. Don't take Entresto with an ACE inhibitor or allospirin. If you've had angioedema while taking an ACE or ARB medicine, don't take Entresto. The most serious side effects are angioedema, low blood pressure, kidney problems, or high blood potassium. Ask your doctor about Entresto and help make more tomorrows possible. Tomorrow, from inside Russia,
Cyber warfare.
Megyn Kelly confronts Vladimir Putin.
Why would you allow an attack like this on the United States?
An NBC News exclusive, tomorrow at 10, 9 Central. On Dateline's Weekend Mystery.
Alligators. Alligators? Alligators.
A bizarre case with a plot so twisted, even detectives have to ask, where's this going? This week on NBC.
We are back now with a new travel alert. Just as many Americans are planning to get away on spring break, the U.S. issued a warning about a very popular destination in Mexico, citing a security threat after a dangerous incident there in recent weeks. We get more from NBC's Joe Fryer.
With spring break just around the corner, the U.S. government is now barring its employees from traveling to a popular Mexican resort city, Playa del Carmen. This comes after a powerful explosion last month on a tourist ferry, which injured at least 25 people, including 2 Americans from North Dakota. Last week, the U.S. Embassy in Mexico stopped employees from using ferries there after undetonated explosive devices were found on another ferry. And this week, the embassy warned it received information about a security threat in Playa del Carmen, though it didn't offer any details about that threat.
The takeaway for American citizens should be...
And I just came back upstairs from cooking me some dinner. And you see how that cow bitch got it turned it up to 6.0 or probably even higher than that. Yeah.
Tonight, Mexico is calling the region safe. All tourism and economic activity in Playa del Carmen continues in a normal manner.
And I'm going to stop this and start a new one.